takes the snap, lunges forward, touchdown Panthers.
We obviously love tough games, but who doesn't like a blowout?
What a grab!
Obviously got our butts kicked.
We're a very dumb football team.
And that's it. We got a tie.
I ain't never had a tie in my life before. I didn't know you could even tie in the NFL.
I always told myself, if I get another chance to play, I'm going to go out there and do something great.
Everybody want to be peacemaker, the heat taker, the beat shaker. Salute the scholars, we dominating in each major. Lessons getting counted on the count of my lines. What I find in the separate.
And the Green Bay Packers have shut out the Seahawks.
It's fun to be back out there.
You could feel that energy, and I think guys wanted to be on Sunday Night Football playing in a stadium like this against a team like that.
I got my swagger back.
That's how I felt yesterday. What a day of football we had. Good morning, everybody. Welcome into First Take. Thank you for being with us. I'm Molly Karen Rose. That is the Hall of Famer, the playmaker, Michael Irvin. Good to see you, sir, making the trek cross country as always. And the one and only Stephen A. Smith.
How you doing, Mom?
And I really like this getup.
Don't go with it. Well, thank you so much.
I really do. I'm a big fan of the three-piece.
Yeah, he's clean.
It's clean. That's one of my favorites.
I appreciate that. Thanks so
I
much.
like
But don't go with him. It's all part of the old trick. It's all part of the
What
trick.
trick? That I look good?
You know, you look great. You look great. But you usually come in here presidential clean. Now this is you're going all presidential clean. You stepping over the brotherly clean. All of that.
Oh, bring
but
back the flavor?
it's just to take away the attention from where it needs to be. Yeah. But I will put it back on where it needs to be.
I will always say
he's
this.
got two patterns, so we know he's ready to go.
I will always say this. I will always say there is never, ever, ever a moment in my life that I ain't a brother.
Okay.
Yes.
I no doubt about that.
We're aware.
Except
we're aware.
I'm going to give you one exception after we go. Let's do it.
How about them Cowboys?
How about
Cowboys defensive coordinator Dan Quinn getting the game ball after Dallas just obliterates his former team, the Falcons, holding Atlanta to 3 points while putting up what?
Wow.
43. Dak threw for nearly 300 yards with 2 TDs through the air, 1 on the ground. Here's Coach Mike McCarthy.
Clearly it was the response we were looking for. I think from Monday, the players were very accountable, went about it just the way you would expect them to. Everybody contributed today. Excellent team win. We had a ton of production, and we were pretty much dominant there in the first half. So it's great to see the locker room the way it is right now. But I think that's what you're looking for.
We're all feeling those good energy, those good vibes. Dallas just redeeming themselves, Stephen A., and then some. After a rough loss to Denver last week, I knew it was a blessing in disguise, Michael Irvin. Tell me this, did Sunday's dominant performance prove that last week's loss, that was just a fluke?
Well, let me tell you now. Let me tell you what happened around here now.
Cowboy.
Let me tell you how things work down there in old Texas where them Cowboys reign. And every now and then when you're out there on the farm, you're trying to work them animals and you get a good bull and maybe they throw you like last week. But boy, down there in Texas as a Cowboy, you got to get back up again. And boy, them Cowboys, I tell you, them Cowboys, they got back up again. And it's how they got back up again. By gunning, I tell you, they got up great. Dak Prescott, oh, God, did you see what he looked like? He threw the ball to 10 different receivers. He threw all over the field. They look great. And when Dak Prescott looks good, what have I said right here? Everything works off that. Let me tell you what was important in that game. Not just how they won. What Coach did that was so important too, Stephen A. Early in that game, when he went for 4th down, that was so big. They got those 4th down. Going into that game, I listened to Dak Prescott, and then right before it, he finally said, we have to finally admit that we let a little overconfidence creep in last week. That was big. That was big because they gave everybody on the team the out. Yeah. Okay, was that us? No, it wasn't. We let overconfidence. Let's correct it and go back and show who we are, and that's exactly what they did. That's championship stuff. And what's great about it, and we'll talk about it throughout the show, is we have other things to do comparative analysis with. We saw how Dallas responded off of a deficit, We saw how the champions reacted off of the deficit of losing. So we'll get to compare them both as we talk about who's the best team in the NFC moving forward. Those Dallas Cowboys. How about them Cowboys? I knew last week when you had one day, you were going to have one day. You had one day last week, and that was that.
Take that stuff off the split screen. I want a solo shot on the camera when I say what I'm about to say.
Okay, well, solo.
That was one of the most disgusting segments I've ever been connected with in my career on First Take. I am appalled that you would even think that you get to put on a Cowboy hat and have to have your Southern drawl. It is a disgrace. Let me tell you something right now. First of all, let me tell you something right now. The hell with them Cowboys. And I want to say this on national television. I want to personally apologize to the Dallas Cowboys. I want to apologize to the Dallas Cowboys. Because you see, it's not them I hate. It's them damn nauseating, disgusting fans that I despise. It don't matter whether you black or white. It don't matter whether you Hispanic, Asian, or whatever. It don't matter whether you old or young or whatever, because they all say the same. It don't matter whether you're a celebrity or you're a vagrant on the damn street. I despise Cowboy fans. And I want to put the camera back on me because this is important. I'm not joking. I can't stand y'all. Let me put this in perspective, and let me put this in its proper perspective. You know, I'm gonna call out. There's a few NBA fans. You know, I personally don't think me and LeBron James talk much because he's a Cowboy fan. AI is my boy, and I love him, but he a closet Cowboy fan. And damn it, when he bring up the Cowboys, I don't like talking to him either. I got one of my boys, my boy Champ in Detroit. I don't talk to him because he a Cowboy fan. Jamie Foxx. I love this man.
Loves the Cowboys.
I love this man. I love this man. Fan. I don't talk to him during the Cowboy season. I can't take it. Denzel Washington. Denzel Washington and I used to talk all the time. I don't know when the last time I talked to him because he's a damn Cowboy fan. I despise these people. And yesterday is a perfect example as to why that is. As far as I'm concerned, Cowboy fans ain't worth a damn. They're the worst. And this is the thing that kills me. Yesterday's a perfect example. Who are the Atlanta Falcons? They're the second worst defense in the National Football League. They can't stop a cold. They're pathetic. Okay? And then on top of it, Matt Ryan, I want to hear that about, Matt Ryan still got ability. Listen, you got T.I. that came on First Take and said you could give Matt Ryan away. Okay? Is Julio Jones there anymore? No. Calvin Ridley didn't play yesterday. Who were their receivers? Do you know him? I've never heard of him. I'm just saying. I'm just looking at stuff right here. I'm just looking at stuff with it. Listen, Russell Gage and Taja Sharp. And I'm like, come on. Listen, the fact of the matter is, the Atlanta Falcons, as far as I'm concerned, was the equivalent of a bye week. You lost to the Denver Broncos. You had no win.
They just beat the Saints. They beat Miami. They beat the Jets. They won like 3 of the last 4.
Y'all are talking to a veteran. I happen to know Jameis Winston went down. You got Trevor Siemian as quarterback. You want to sit up there and give them credit for beating the Saints, who, by the way, just lost yesterday again. Be my guest. All I'm saying to you is this. The Atlanta Falcons pretty much are close to trash. Ain't nobody expect anything from them this year. We know that. Again, I'm going to repeat, the second worst defense in the National Football League, who were devoid of its offensive weapons. Now, because the Dallas Cowboys, who fell asleep and took a week off against Denver, shows up and shows out against the Atlanta Falcons. Here y'all are sitting there making a big deal.
First of all, Atlanta is in the National Football League. Right.
All right, wait, be quiet.
Hold up. I don't want to hear him talk about UConn. Oh, how'd your Steelers do? What they get? Did they get a tie against the Detroit Lions? Don't even talk to me.
Do not try to digress off this, Stephen A.
I went back to the 2000s.
Do not try to digress off this.
I'm not digressing.
Because you can talk about what Atlanta is not. We have to talk about how they beat Atlanta. This was not, you beat Atlanta 20-18.
Come on, man.
You put a 40 burger on a whole 40 burger.
They put
to 3 points. They haven't had this in 20 years. Beat anybody. Don't you like to go back and say, well, y'all won the Super Bowl in 30 years? Why they hadn't beaten anybody by this big of a margin in 20 years.
Before we move on, I just want to look at the Atlanta Falcons here. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm looking at them and I'm just saying to myself, listen, I'm not overly enamored with them. Again, Where were your weapons? What did you do? Who did you have to throw the football to? A rookie and Kyle Pitts?
Yes,
That's
Kyle
all.
Pitts.
Okay.
And
That's all.
he's
This is
having
the
a
one
great-
game you're
No,
supposed to
let me
win.
give him some love.
Okay.
The
That
Dallas
young-
Cowboys
that
did
young
what they
man
were
is having a
supposed to
great
do.
season.
The
He's
Cowboys
having a
did
great
what they were
season.
supposed to do.
Okay.
Let's not act like they've been
All right,
resurrected
all right.
because of it.
Oh, you-
I got at least
nobody
3 teams in the
expected
NFC
the
better than
Like
Cowboys
your
to
Pittsburgh
put up
Steelers
40
didn't do what
points,
they were
Stephen
supposed to
A.
do.
And I know
At
that.
least you have a
And I
nice
know
suit
that.
on.
They
And I
went
know
back.
that.
They went
Okay.
back to what they were.
Perfect.
Okay, and that's
Perfect.
that was the
Let's do
question.
this. Let's do
was
this.
it a fluke?
Yes.
The answer is
It's
yes.
no.
Did you answer the question? Was it a fluke? Was
Yes.
last week's loss a fluke? The Dallas Cowboys back number 1 on your big board.
It was a fluke because Denver was up 30-0, and we know Denver's not good.
Okay. You know what,
So
Michael?
what?
Oh my
Michael, let's
this man
save
keeps
him from
moving
himself.
the needle,
I'm
man.
not moving the needle.
Yes.
Keep
I'm giving you
moving the
facts. You
needle,
asked the
man.
question. I answered it.
Oh my God!
Gentlemen,
it was a
we're
fluke
moving on.
loss.
We're moving
ahead.
on. Michael Irvin, we're moving on. We'll come back to this. He can't handle it. It's too much for him right now. He can't take it.
Oh
Don't
my
call it a
God,
comeback.
man.
He's been here for years. Patrick Mahomes
Fluke loss.
goes off on Sunday Night Football 41-14, making easy work against a tough foe in the division, the Raiders. Mahomes looking like the man we used to know. Listen to this line. 35 of 50, 406 yards in 5 TDs. Is
Oh my God.
showtime back?
We obviously haven't offensively played the way we wanted to, but we've been finding ways to get wins. And so I think guys have been just steady with the process of getting better and better. I thought pregame you could feel that energy, and I think guys wanted to be on Sunday Night Football playing in a stadium like this against a team like that.
My guy Dan Orlovsky's here. How we feeling?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
Excellent.
I brought
excellent.
some color to the set. I mean, you obviously do every day, but
Thank
they
you.
just went to their mood gray. So I brought some color to the set.
What do you mean? He's got double patterns like usual. He's got a pop of purple.
I like the way the suit looks.
Oh,
I
you're right.
put it
You're
on.
right. You said
That's
You guys
all.
look good.
Don't
You
be
said
talking
something.
about
You let
how
this
it's my
look good.
mood.
You let
I wear black, gray, and blue all the time.
Listen, I got to come in and throw a punch
I'm
early
just
on.
saying, but you got to be accurate. You can't be
It's a good
missing.
fall color.
Okay.
I'm feeling
I
it.
worked for Baker Mayfield's funeral today.
Okay.
Oh, you got it.
thought-
Oh, you knew it was
I was
coming.
waiting for
I'm
you.
ready.
You knew it
You
was
got to
coming.
ward it off.
Okay.
That's slick.
Oh,
Oh,
That's
I
slick.
see what you
And
did there
you gotta-
for the loud. I
Let's
got
go.
you.
Let's
It
go.
took
Let's
a
go.
second, but I picked it up. All right, guys. After 3 straight wins, KC is in first in the division for the first time this season. Did we jump off the Chiefs bandwagon too soon?
No. No, we didn't. What we were talking about when we talked about the Chiefs were their defense. There was nobody in here that sat up there and said their offense is finished. We didn't look at Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, McCole Harbin, or anybody else and say, excuse me, they're finished. Nobody said that. What we said was your defense was trash. Your defense couldn't stop a cold. We didn't have any faith in the defense. Now they look a little better. We'll see as the season progresses. Right now they're in first place, but that's pretty much a product of how the Raiders have fallen off. And we got to have some sympathy for the Raiders. I mean, my God, week after week, there's always something that they have been going through. Gruden,
Yeah,
now he's filing a lawsuit. Obviously, Ruggs. You had another player that was banished. I mean, they've got a lot of distractions. You got a new coach in there that was a special teams guy. There's a lot of stuff that's been going on with the Raiders, so we understand that. We all knew that Teddy Bridgewater and the Denver Broncos really weren't that damn good, okay? Teddy Bridgewater's allergic to producing in the red zone, okay? And then, obviously, you look at the Chargers. That's the one team that you look at and said, okay, they could give the Chiefs a run for their money. But when you look at the Chiefs and you were judgmental of the Chiefs, it was because their defense was horrific. You looked at Sorensen and Snead and these boys, and you said, excuse me, you see teams literally targeting them. Now, to their credit, they seem to have gotten a little bit better over the last several weeks, but the bottom line is it's still up for grabs in terms of a question mark about their defense. I never sat up there and said that the Kansas City Chiefs weren't going to the playoffs. I thought they were finished, but I thought they were finished as the team to beat in the AFC, meaning going to the Super Bowl, which I specified. I still had them winning the division, and I still had them going that far because Patrick Mahomes is their quarterback, Travis Kelce is their tight end, and Tyreek Hill is their number one receiver. But their defense was sorry. Now their defense doesn't look as sorry, but it's still a question mark, which means nobody jumped off the bandwagon when it came to the Chiefs.
That soliloquy isn't totally accurate, though. It wasn't just the defense. People were obviously talking about the
Patrick Mahomes.
quarterback, Patrick
Yeah,
Mahomes, being
No, I didn't say it wasn't
a shell of himself.
No, what
as
I said was I
Right.
believe that the offense would resurrect themselves.
Okay.
I said the defense is what I was
No, but I'm
convinced
not even
wasn't
putting
gonna do
onus
anything.
on you. I'm just saying the public in
please.
general.
Yes.
Expectation breeds disappointment.
Okay.
We were disappointed in the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't think anybody had jumped off their bandwagon saying, man, they were a bad football team in the context of what they were expected to be.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we talked about, I was a person who was very critical of their offense and very critical of Patrick. That's my job, is to say this is the stuff that is getting done poorly that you have to fix. Now, last night was good, but I want to be honest about last night. 50 times that Patrick Mahomes threw the ball, he got the ball out of his hand on the first hitch, meaning 1, 2, 3. I put my back foot in the ground, and I'm hitching up, and the ball's coming out 44 times. That is indicative of bad defense. Now, he hasn't done that all offseason. He's done, or all season. We haven't seen that style of play from him all season. We've begged of him to be more patient, take the easy completion, don't try to force the ball downfield. And that's exactly what he did because he's that kind of player. So if we get that out of Patrick Mahomes and we get the no turnovers out of their offense and we don't get the dumb penalties and the defense plays that way, then yes, they are the Kansas City Chiefs that we have come to see over the last 3 years. But this is the first game in the first 10 weeks of the season that we've seen that out of their quarterback. Do I believe he can do it again? Absolutely, but I got to see it again. They're going to play a good football team next week. The Raiders' defense was giving them completions. That's not what teams have done was played two safeties with people down near the ball and haven't given them exactly. And so they've challenged them to either run the football or take a check down. Yesterday, last night, playmaker was about, hey, just take this little throw, take this little throw. Now, Patrick did a great job. So jumping off the bandwagon, no one was saying this is the worst football team in the league. No. What we were saying was this is not a team that can be a difference maker in the playoffs. If we get the quarterback like we did last night and decision maker and that defense, then yeah, absolutely, that's the team that we expect.
And I was saying they were done. And I was saying it because, like, I'm not just, I know the talent. We all know the talent. We know the gifts, and we know what they can do when they're at their best. But what I saw in their minds, where they were, where the confidence was, the whole different thing. Could they play the way they need to play? The biggest thing that came out of last night's game for Kansas City Chiefs is that Darrell Williams had 9 receptions. 9 receptions. Over 100 yards in a receiving touchdown. Never done before in the history of the Kansas City Chiefs, and certainly not in the time of Patrick Mahomes, because he wouldn't do that. He did it last night. He learned, hey, I can do all of these. And still throw 5 touchdowns. And still throw 4 yards.
Here's a boring throw here.
Right. And then when you guys suck up, I'll throw something funky. I'll throw a left-handed and then still get my press from that. But he learned something, I think, and that makes them dangerous again.
I want to come back to you because when we talked about Kansas City and there was concerns, you thought it was 3 parts. The quarterback wasn't playing like he was supposed to.
Correct.
The coach wasn't coaching as well. And you said they don't have the personnel.
Yeah.
So now do you still feel that way?
But they can cover a lot of that with what they do on offense.
Well, after you saw that yesterday, is there a little more confidence?
It makes me feel better that they fixed the things that were broken for 1 week. You got to do it another week, though. That's I will say this. 3 weeks ago, I pointed out on tape and used kind of examples of Patrick mechanically was so bad.
Yeah.
The past 2 weeks, he's been a lot better. So that shows me, okay, that's gotten better. I thought the play calling last night was relatively similar. But again, the Raiders structurally, they're going to give you that stuff. That's just how Gus Bradley runs their defense. I got to see them play against a team that's going to play in that too-high shell and then force them to, if they're going to want to throw the ball, call those too-high shell beaters. They were calling cover 3 beaters, which are relatively basic, simple football plays. So I got to see that out again them next week. Personnel-wise, I think their offensive line, the interior is doing a good job. Their tackles are okay. I still want to see, like, Kelsey had his best night as well last night. Not a coincidence. Tyreek I still got to see Mecole step up when he needs to.
Guys, let's pump the brakes. Just a touch. Let's think about this for a second here, okay? If you're the Raiders, okay, Kansas City's defensive line pressured Derek Carr 11 times.
Yeah.
Okay, they were all over.
Right.
Okay? The only person you really could target was Waller. Okay, Deshaun Jackson just got there, caught 1 reception for 38 yards, but then ended up getting stripped and all of that other stuff. Okay, so your offense was compromised because of pressure on the quarterback, because obviously you lost one of your, the primary target for your vertical game, and obviously that compromised you to some degree. But also, okay, you got to look at it from the standpoint offensive, from a scheme perspective. What the hell are you doing targeting Tyrann Mathieu? I mean, the honey badger.
Don't throw it near him.
You targeted him about 6 or 7 different times. Okay, that was a mistake. Okay, then when you look at it from the offensive standpoint, your offensive line was protecting Patrick Mahomes. He was getting rid of the ball relatively quickly, like you pointed out. Travis Kelce. Now, see, I don't want to hear anybody else talk about they get their swag back, but Travis Kelce, I can accept it because we know how big time that brother is. And
even
you know
though
what,
I retired
he had a few subpar performances, but at the end of the day, we know what Travis Kelce brings to the table. So if you've got him confident and you targeted Tyreek Hill about 10 times. That's their formula. That's what works for them. And you're going up against a Raiders team, again, that mentally doesn't seem to be there. They had their first 2 weeks with their new coach, but after that, they got humbled. Yeah. We've seen who they are to some degree, and now they're fading, as I predicted earlier this season. Right. When everybody was getting on me, Keyshawn was sitting in one of those chairs, and what was he talking about? Derek Carr, MVP. Now in the hallways talking about, how about them Cowboys? You talk about somebody changing the narrative, that would be that brother, and I'll deal with him tomorrow. But the point that I'm making is, in the end, what it comes down to is the opposition is what we have to look at to decide whether we're going to elevate
and that's what
or
Dan's
be
saying. But guess
stagnant.
what they have? We know.
Guess who they play next week?
Yes, I know that, and that's what I'm trying to tell you.
They do it again. They do it Sunday. They have a performance like this Sunday, then I'll go.
I can't wait for that game.
Okay, exactly.
But a night like that gives you confidence, and the Chiefs have it, and it's just in time for the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, yeah. Let's go.
So the Cowboys win this game after they got all their mojo back. Then we got that.
I will say this. The Cowboys will plummet. There is no problem. It's inevitable. And let me tell you something. Their only hope, you might help them out a little bit if you get a haircut. You might help them out a little bit.
Can we please go to break? Still the Brady, please explain to me what is going on with my guy Tom Brady and the Bucs. So yesterday, they were upset by the Washington football team. Now keep in mind, this team, no world beater. Sitting in the bottom of the division that is arguably the worst in football, Tampa Bay has now lost back-to-back games for the second time in the Brady era, last week falling to the Saints, and Teflon Tom uncharacteristically throwing 2 picks in both of those games. Arians, Brady, I thought the plan's to run it back.
No, that has nothing to do with ability. It's all about execution and being a smart football team. We're a very dumb football team. And that's a reflection of the coaches.
You said the stupidity has to go away. You said it was a very dumb team. How much of the penalties, especially the pre-snap penalties, set things back?
Yeah, those don't even, you don't know, you can't run a play. So thank you guys.
Scully season, RC is in the building. A very dumb football team, gentlemen. Yeah. I'll start with you, Ryan. Do you think Brady's play is concerning now these past 2 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, it's concerning because it's not what's expected of Tom Brady. But we also saw some of this last year, right? Think about the Chicago Bears game, and they come out of the game, I think it was 11 or 12 penalties. Brady's asking for an extra down, and we get Bruce Arians upset after that. And then you go later on in the season, they get blown out at home by the New Orleans Saints. Brady doesn't play well. This defense doesn't play well. The team that we saw in the playoffs was a different team than we saw throughout the regular season. We also have to keep this in mind about Tom Brady. Right now, there's no Rob Gronkowski. Right now, there's no Antonio Brown. And there was a lot of us, a lot of times we look at Antonio Brown, we looked at him as like auxiliary, right? We looked at him like lanyard, like extra, but he's a necessity for this team. When the Chris Godwins and when the Mike Evans aren't getting open and aren't making plays, a guy like Antonio Brown became the X factor. Rob Gronkowski was the security blanket. And so I think you're missing some of those players. The defense isn't playing great, and you have some pre-snap penalties. These things can be changed, but you got to go to work and do it.
Well, listen, here's the thing. It is the thing that I'm not worried about Tom Brady. He did not play stellar football yesterday. We all know that. He had a few of those games last year before he really turned on the afterburners in the second half of the season. What really stands out to me is the defense again. And although we recognize from the very beginning of the season that they've been rife with injuries, the one thing that can't be ignored, you got Mr. Muffler himself, Taylor Heineke. What does he do? 13.
Why you calling Mr. Muffler?
Heineke.
We get it.
Okay, I mean, that's all it is. But I mean, I'm proud of the job he did. I know he performed well in the playoffs against Tampa Bay. Okay, and the bottom line, he played against them again yesterday. 13 of his completions went for first down.
Yep.
I can't ignore that. That makes me look at the defense. We rave about the greatness of Todd Bowles as a defensive mind and the defensive coordinator. Yeah. We raved about how Tampa Bay's defense came on in the second half of the season. Well, guess what? We're still waiting for them to turn on the afterburners, to really amp it up. I totally agree with you about the offense. Come to me when Antonio Brown and Gronk is on the football field and tell me you're going to have problems with this offense. I don't see that happening. Right. Okay? What I see, however, is a defense that needs to get their act together because they scared no one. And what they're going to have to do is make sure they amend that.
Can they? Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. No. To let somebody drive 19 plays
Bruh.
Right there.
10 minutes.
Over 10 minutes. So when I saw the question about Tom Brady, I said, we're asking about Tom Brady. I mean, Tom had them right where he wanted. If you just give me one stop, Tom comes back and we win the game and he has another fourth quarter comeback, another fourth quarter win to add to his great resume already. But you couldn't stop this for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You got to go in the locker room. It's going to take more than a shower to get this off you. This is something.
Hey, that's that stink that don't wear off.
This gonna last.
Yeah.
This goes into the week, and you gotta hope and say, you gotta look in the mirror when you put toothbrush to tooth and say, "Was that us? That can't be us. Who was that?" Because before you step on the field next week, Tom Brady ain't the problem. The manhood of everybody on that defense must get checked, and they got to check it at their own door.
And the big thing about this is, like, you got to see them rebound the way, and I know you're going to love this, the way the Dallas Cowboys did.
Yes.
Right?
How are they an answer to his downfall?
Stephen A., I know you don't want to hear it, but here's the thing. So, and Mike knows this.
To the rest of the world, not just Stephen A.
And Mike,
I am the world. I am the world right here.
We are. This is first take. This is not Stephen A.'s world. This ain't Stephen A.'s world, bro.
This show, I am the world. I am the world. I'm the only cowboy hater.
Bro,
okay? Now
I'm so tired of
you. You can be tired of me all you want to. You ain't tired of me. You mimicked my suit last week.
So, hey,
right there.
Stephen A.
Oh, yes.
The point I'm trying to make in your world is, in your world, the point I'm trying to make is the Dallas Cowboys were able to get coached hard last week. When you lose to the Denver Broncos like that, right, you can go into the meetings and now you don't have a rebuttal. You don't have an excuse. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense, they don't have a rebuttal. They don't have an excuse. They have to elevate their play. Todd Bowles can go into that meeting and say whatever he wants to them in whatever way he needs to say it to them because their manhood does need to be checked. To be on the field for 10 minutes, Stephen A. With Taylor,
who's disputing this?
If Taylor Heineke plays the Tampa Bay Buccaneers every game, he'd be an All-Pro. This is so. It is about Tom Brady. Tom Brady needs to be better, but this team as a whole, Bruce Arians challenged this entire team. The thing that I put on Tom Brady more than anything is and Bart loves this word, he's supposed to be a force multiplier, right? The Tom Brady effect is supposed to resonate.
He does use those words a lot.
That's his favorite word.
That's his favorite. Yes, he does.
You know what I'm saying?
One last quick thing.
You got it.
They were being, this was the challenge.
Yeah.
This is what happened on the challenge. They lost going into the bye. Coming out of the bye, they were challenged. And they produced this. That's why they got to go in the mirror and say what happened.
They have the New York Football Giants on Monday Night Football. Then they have the Colts. Then they have the Falcons. All
so
right,
you saying they're going to get right against the Giants?
The Colts ain't going to
figure out why they go off like that. Who disagree with you about Tampa Bay's defense?
The Colts.
The playmaker made a good point. I was following the playmaker's point. Apparently, in your world, that is not allowed. Right?
Can I just say
you should allow it with that terrible Marvel list you put out.
Did I not just apologize? Watch your mouth. Be respectful, man.
Oh my
Be respectful, okay?
How do you follow up the apology with watch your mouth? I just want to mention also, despite the win, potentially a huge loss with Chase Young.
Yes.
Right for an ACL to be done for the year. He's a special talent.
Yes, he is.
All right, staying in the NFC South, the Panthers were the only team to notch a W in that division. Cam Newton made his triumphant return to the Panthers, running for a touchdown and throwing a touchdown in a big win against the Cardinals. Cam, how did it feel?
Oh, impeccable. Impeccable. Me and my boy Robbie had an unbelievable conversation last night over dinner. And it's great for things to come to fruition. I wouldn't even call it the new me, but I'm big on energy.
Okay, let me just say this really quickly. I was watching on Red Zone, right?
Right.
So you're watching all the games. And I was feeling the energy. He comes out. First 2 times he touches the ball, he scores.
Yep.
And then I'm like, oh, hold up. Wait, Kyler Murray's not playing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. DeAndre Hopkins not playing. So I didn't know how hype I should actually be, if I should curb my enthusiasm. And with that being said, Stephen A., did Cam prove this signing was more box office or box score?
Absolutely not. He proved it was box office. I mean, think about it. He just spoke to the energy. We all know the level of enthusiasm the locker room had because, listen, if you know anything about Cam, he's hard to dislike, man. I mean, he's a good brother. He's a good brother, man. He's
teammates like him.
He's a good brother.
Whole energy.
It's the swag, it's the energy, and there's so much, and y'all can speak to this a hell of a lot better than me because y'all both played. when you got a brother who can play, because he's no scrub and we know that.
right.
When you got a brother who can play and you respect him, but there's just something about his vibe and his personality that makes you laugh, that makes you relax, that makes you not worry about the ails of the world invading your locker room. And he pulls you away from all of that because his presence just uplifts you and what have you. If you are the Carolina Panthers, you knew quick and in short order that was not a dude that you should have gotten rid of if you were Matt Rule. You might have thought, you should have thought about that. Tepper let him do it because I went to the college ranks and I got this coach Matt Rule from Baylor, who used to coach at Temple and did a great job on a collegiate level. Gave him $60+ million coming out of college, okay? And basically you had to say, when he says to you, I don't need this guy because I'm trying to build a culture, if you're Tepper, you have to do it. But once you're losing and you see just the negative effect that losing can have on a locker room. And you're looking, and I say this because I went to Winston-Salem State. It's an hour away from Charlotte. I'm very, very familiar with Charlotte. It truly, truly is the Bible Belt. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they don't play. So you've got to be of the right frame of mind. And when you got a city that's particular about who they gravitate toward, having such love for this dude, you can't just let him go and throw him by the wayside the way that they did. So the second you were struggling, you bring him back. He infused that energy in them. It's box office. That's what this is about more so than anything else.
I'm hoping it's a little box score, though, fellas.
But let me tell you what you're saying, too. Because the maturation, it was a perfect maturation. They drafted him in 2011. He won Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
And at the end of 4 years, which we all hope for every quarterback to draft first in 2015, he was MVP. They were going to the Super Bowl in a 15-1 record. That whole journey was a beautiful journey and a beautiful marriage. So they're so gripped together. And Cam, you can speak to this. Stephen A., you kind of hit on this. Cam is the quarterback. And the quarterback ain't always that cool with the whole team.
100%.
Now, do you know what I'm saying?
100%.
And if you get a quarterback that's that cool with the whole team, that's how they show up.
Final word here.
The thing I love about this is Cam Newton is not the right quarterback for 31 other teams. He's the perfect quarterback for this situation in Carolina.
I must remind you, didn't Philip Walker play yesterday?
Yeah, P.J. Walker played well.
He threw 29 passes.
Played well.
Cam Newton threw 4. Yes,
but he came in and hit pay dirt.
I understand, and he hit against a Carolina or Arizona Cardinals team that Kyler Murray wasn't playing.
The big thing going forward is
that's why it's box office.
Yeah,
they're just having fun with it.
Well, the other thing,
box office.
The other thing I loved about it though, and it was when Cam Newton scored that first touchdown. Christian McCaffrey, who's one of the brightest stars in this league, absolutely lost his mind. Right, like he went to dancing and he was flailing his arms. It was that type of energy this team needed. Go back to Robbie Anderson and watch the way Robbie Anderson looked at Sam Darnold on the sideline last week, and then look at Robbie Anderson in the interview. Right, at least that part.
I get it's box office, but I want it to be box score because it brings
let me tell you where your argument comes into play.
What?
They have Washington and Miami
with no change.
Over the next 2 weeks. It could potentially continue.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It could be 7-5.
Absolutely. All right, guys. The Browns lost by much more than 8. Today, we begin with the top-seeded Titans, who improved to 8-2 after winning their 6th straight, with each of their last 5 coming against playoff teams from a year ago. After failing to reach the end zone as more than 14-point favorites in their loss against the Jaguars last week, the Bills more than made up for it against the Jets, scoring 6 touchdowns as a part of a 45-point effort. Not Mike White today. And Bill Belichick led the Patriots to a big win, over his former team. New England has now won 4 straight, their longest winning streak since beginning the 2019 season, 8-0, having outscored their opponents by 100 points over. That fan, our quarterback Dan Orlovsky, is back with us. Are the Patriots the most dangerous team in the AFC? Michael, playmaker, Urban.
Listen, let's talk about this too now, because I'll give it to you, Dan. I'll give it to you. You're right. They're a playoff team. They've earned that right in the way they play. They're a physical football team, and their quarterback doesn't make mistakes. But they beat the Jets, the Chargers, Cleveland, Carolina. I say they're in the playoffs, but are they the most dangerous team? No, I say no to that. Now, I do believe, we just talked about the Chiefs getting their swagger back. You know, we just talked about the Buffalo Bills right there putting up 45 points. Those are two explosive teams. And I believe that's the one thing I want to see the Patriots. That's the next hurdle I want to see for the Patriots. Play an explosive team that gets out front, and let me watch you come back, because you're going to see those teams like we just talked about, the Buffaloes or the Kansas City Chiefs, when you get to the playoffs. So that's why I'm saying they're not the most dangerous team in the AFC.
Dan came close to changing my mind on this weeks ago, and then I watched the New England Patriots, and I'm going to tell you they have changed my mind. I definitely think they're the most dangerous team because I'm looking at their defense. They're very opportunistic. They're very experienced. And here's the thing that everyone knows this, we don't say it enough. You can't be anything less than an elite quarterback and think you're going to beat Bill Belichick. It's just not going to happen. He exposes
and those
average.
Teams I talked about have those quarterbacks.
Yeah, I understand that, but he exposes average quarterbacks. Now, let's understand something here. The only person that's proven to be elite come postseason time is Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
Ryan Tannehill hasn't proven to be elite postseason. Lamar Jackson hasn't proven.
Hold
on. I'm getting to my point. I'll let you speak. Fall back. Fall back.
Okay. Go ahead. Go.
Ryan Tannehill hasn't proven to be elite in the postseason. Lamar Jackson hasn't proven to be elite in the postseason. Josh Allen hasn't proven to be elite in the postseason. That's a fact. When they beat Baltimore, he was 17. They won 17-3. They lost in the AFC Championship game to Kansas City. That's the only time we've really seen him in the postseason. So what I'm saying to you is you purview the landscape. In the AFC, okay, Justin Herbert, we ain't seen him yet. Not in the postseason, and he's a young quarterback that would be going up against Bill Belichick. Let's say, for the sake of argument, Derek Carr manages to get there. Don't get me started with him. He ain't proven to be elite, okay? All right, Keyshawn's still hiding over that one, okay? Let's say Joe Burrow was lucky enough to get there. We believe in Joe Burrow, but there's some games where he's been a little bit exposed, and what we thought of him, he's made some errors. He hasn't proven to be elite. Lamar Jackson hasn't proven to be elite. Ben Roethlisberger's a stationary target. Certainly not elite anymore. And again, I brought up Josh Allen. There is no one in the AFC outside of Patrick Mahomes who you can definitively say is that dude in the postseason. And oh, by the way, when Patrick Mahomes shows up against New England, he usually struggles against them more than he struggles against anybody else. So when you look at it and the veteran leadership they got on the defensive side of the ball, and offensively, they don't beat themselves for the most part, because that's the greatest thing you can say about Mac Jones. This kid, Ramondre Stevenson, running the football effectively for them as well. I'm just saying I can't ignore what I'm seeing from New England right now.
They could use another receiver, but Dan, here's where I'm at. Listen, my dream would be to still see Belichick and Brady in another Super Bowl. But here's where I felt like I couldn't get too excited about this game, and tell me if I'm wrong, because there's no Chubb, there's no Felton, and there's no Hunt.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair, Malls. I would say, I think outside of that first drive yesterday, New England's defense was fantastic. I think a lot of the run game is often tied to the offensive line, not just the back, and that offensive line was still there. I think that the Patriots are the second most dangerous team in the AFC. I think Buffalo was still the best and most dangerous team. I think Buffalo's the best team in football, okay? I've remained adamant in that. I think Buffalo in the AFC, the Los Angeles Rams in the NFC. Everyone talks about New England's defense. They played 10 games. There has been one quarterback to play a good game against this defense this year. One, Dak Prescott, was the only guy, quarterback-wise, to play well this year. They played against Justin Herbert. He had his worst game of the year against them. They played against Tom. Tom had a very pedestrian game against them. So this defense is going to make basically any. So I kind of agree with Stephen A's point.
Belichick.
You got to be a dude at the quarterback spot. And they've even made those guys look very basic this year.
Right. But Lamar has that special little thing.
Yes, Lamar's special, no doubt. I think the thing that makes New England indifferent to me, or very different than me compared to the other teams, I think they got the best offensive line in the AFC right now. Their offensive line. The Cleveland Browns came into yesterday's game with the #1 pass rush unit in the NFL. They pressured Mac Jones 3 times. I think that the Patriots' offensive line is rounding in to be just as good as their defense. And I don't think anybody in the AFC has that. And I will push back on you with this. we got to stop saying Mac Jones' best thing is he doesn't hurt the football team.
Right.
Maybe the kid's just really freaking good.
No, I've always liked Mac Jones coming out of Alabama.
But we can't say the best thing is he doesn't hurt the football team. The best thing he does is he knows exactly where to go with the football, and he knows exactly when to throw the football, and he knows how to throw the football, and he's wildly accurate, and he plays incredibly fast. Like all the things that matter the most to quarterback play, he does really good.
Well, you can say that. My retort to that would be if you've got an offensive line that's protecting you and you have a running game that buffers your offense, those are two components that are incredibly pivotal to assisting a quarterback, particularly a young quarterback that's learning a new system that you're bringing along slowly. You said yourself weeks ago, they don't make things too complicated for Mac Jones. They're bringing them along slowly. And you're seeing elevation, but it's relatively incremental from the standpoint that you're not asking him to do but so much. I'm saying to you, your points are valid, but they would be even more substantive if he didn't have a stout offensive line or a running game to buffer that. But when you've got to worry about those two things, that definitely does help him now.
And that's a great point. It's a great point. But that's the one reason that I say I'm not ready to make them most dangerous. Because, yeah, they have all of that. But when it comes to explosiveness, I don't see those guys on the outside that they have. Now Bourne has been playing great football. Great football.
Yes, he has.
Been going up and making some plays. And those guys outside have been making plays. But I don't know if I can say with those guys that you have on outside and you're down 14.
We got to go, Jim, but I see you champing at the bit over here.
You can't say that, and then we have data of a Ben Roethlisberger doing the same thing as a young player, or a Russell Wilson doing the same thing as a young player. Look at what those guys became. They had great offensive lines, they ran the ball well, and had really good defenses.
But
they became great players.
I'm not questioning what Mac Jones is going to be.
Right.
Hold on, let's not get it
Tom
twisted.
started that way.
Let's not get it twisted. I'm not questioning what Mac Jones is going to be. I believe in the brother.
Or what he's right now.
Have. But what I'm saying to you is that right now, he's helped along by a lot. When you give me an offensive line and you give me a running game, and you give me exceptional coaching, and you give me an opportunistic defense, I'm surrounded by complementary pieces.
He's saying
his whole situation is perfect.
His whole situation is good.
Every quarterback.
No. You've seen some situations where some quarterback, like for example,
Dak Prescott's
time out. Weeks ago, you called Cleveland the most disappointing team.
Correct.
Why? Because you looked at everything around.
Right.
No, you said there's no excuse.
I said the defense was
Excuse.
disappointing.
But even the offense.
Right, they were bad, but I said the defense was the most disappointing. Dak Prescott's having a career year, right?
Yes.
Because everything around him is what it needs to be for his talent to be reached.
Sure.
And that's the case with Mac Jones
But we also knew that Dak Prescott could ball even before stuff was around.
We got to get to break. The Patriots and Mac Jones both have been very impressive. I would just say to you really quickly, Dan, about the Bills being the team to beat. The only real team the Bills have beat is the Chiefs.
Yeah.
So they've had a real easy schedule. They played the Titans. They lost to them. So we still haven't seen them against real tough competition.
I thought we were.
Yeah, listen. Mr. Smith, defensive coordinator Dan Quinn gets the game ball after Dallas just obliterates his former team, the Falcons, holding Atlanta to 3 points while putting up 43. Dak threw for nearly 300 yards with 2 TDs through the air, 1 on the ground. Let's take a look here at the NFC playoff picture. Those Cowboys have a strong grip on the NFC East. They're currently the 3rd seed in the conference. Meanwhile, there's been a shakeup at the top spot as the Packers win moved them ahead of the Cardinals, who are without Kyler Murray for the 2nd straight game as he deals with an ankle injury. RC back here with us. Stephen A., are the Cowboys the team to beat in the NFC?
Hell no.
You can't say it.
Yes, I can.
No, you
yes,
can't,
I
bro.
can. Yes, I can. Yes, I
No, you
can.
can't.
Excuse me, defense suspect. I don't want to hear about yesterday. I'm not gonna let y'all do this.
You don't want to hear about
I don't want to hear about yesterday.
He lives in the past.
That bye week that they really had because the Atlanta Falcons ain't a damn team.
They just won.
I don't want to hear nothing about the Atlanta Falcons. I don't want to hear nothing about them. Okay, we all know where they're going. Nowhere. T.I. already came on first thing and talked about how they need to get rid of Matt Ryan and everybody else. Julio Jones got out of town just in time. Calvin really probably want to get out of town. Kyle Pitts probably saying, "Damn, if it wasn't for the ATL being the ATL, I don't know if I'd want to be here." I mean, this is what the situation. And by the way, their practice facility is an hour away from Atlanta. I don't even know why they call themselves the Atlanta Falcons. Now let me get to this point, okay? Let me tell y'all something. Have you been watching the Los Angeles Rams? And I know why Robert Woods goes down with the ACL. I'm very concerned about that. But I believe in OBJ. I believe in OBJ. I certainly have no reason not to believe in Cooper Kupp, Higbee, and the boys. I'm just saying, Matthew Stafford throwing the football, flinging it around, Sean McVay's play calling. You're supposed to be those dudes, right? Let's see what they do. And oh, by the way, has Green Bay not been winning? Has Green Bay not been winning? Yes,
they're not top 2.
Has Green Bay not been winning?
The Cowboys not top 2?
They top 3. They top 3. How come they can't be top? Why they got to be top 2? How come the Rams and the Packers can't be ahead of them? Are we saying that I have no case for that? Are we saying that I have no case for that? Yes or no? Because listen,
we already know what case you're gonna make.
The point. No, wait a minute. They were my number 1 team in the NFL 2 weeks ago before they lost it.
Whatever.
I had them number 1. I had them number 1. All right. And then they went to bed because they were allergic to prosperity. The second you start bloviating about them, they plummet like a bag of bricks. I'm telling you something right now. It's gonna happen. When you look at the Green Bay Packers and them winning football games, let's take into account who their quarterback is. Now, he was a bad man for a different reason in the week leading up to this damn game because of what happened with him and lying to the public like that, all right, and to the media and all of that stuff in regards to COVID. But he's still a bad man. That is Aaron Rodgers. The defense has been coming together, okay?
Defense has to play well.
And you know his weapons are going to be there. You expect his weapons to be there come playoff time, even though I am concerned about Aaron Jones right now. That is a question mark about Aaron Jones. I hope his injury ain't as serious as they were saying that he would, even though Dylan filled it admirably. I'm just looking at
Can you go, playmaker?
Go ahead.
Can you go, man? Are you gonna ever get to talk?
This out, man. It's like what football? What is football about? You talked about it. You said you had them number 1 and they plummeted. Now what we go through every game. We want to see how many challenges and obstacles can you overcome. What the Cowboys did after bouncing back after that plummet. You're right. They plummeted. They felt the love from everybody and believed it. And they plummet. Oh my God. But give them the opportunity to learn from it. It's how you bounce back.
How many years you need to learn?
How many years you say this every year? No, it's this team, Stephen A. It's this team right now.
I'm with you.
This team is built now. This team is built now to have success. Oh my God. Let me tell you why I say this too. Even the backups are playing well.
Preach to them.
That's what you got to say. Okay, and I watched. I was in my living room watching, and I know you don't mean nobody no harm when nobody goes down. Right. But when Randy Gregory went down, you said, and I heard you say, I wish the brother well. I hope he gets well.
And who was the adult in the room like usual?
Proud of it being for football reasons.
Right. You did say that. You did say that. But when I talked to Big Cat last week, I said, Big Cat, how y'all going to Leon y'all know Big Cat. I said, how you going to get spread? He said, man, I got this young dude Armstrong. He going to show. I was watching the game. He showed up. Yep. So he showed up, and I said, oh, see, now you got Tyrod Smith out. And still, to Tycho, I said, I don't know anybody. But he played better. He showed up. That tells you something. Now the backups are starting to step up. When they say the next man up, the Cowboys really can't put the next man up.
Stephen A., you're talking about the bad man in Green Bay? Dak Prescott's playing better than Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
Are you not watching that?
Did you just hear that?
Dak Prescott is playing football at a higher level.
Overall, not last week against Denver, but overall, yes.
So why you got to just point out 1 week? I mean, Aaron Rodgers was terrible.
You couldn't go back 2 weeks ago. You can't go back to last week.
Because this is why. You know who Stephen A. is? Do you have someone in your life they're just stuck in the past?
He's stuck in the past.
They live in the past.
You don't know how to forget.
But he only goes there when he wants to.
That is you. You live in the past.
You live in the past.
Welcome to 2021.
You know why you're living in the past?
It is a new day. Let it go.
Now, you know why you're living in the past? Because the present is too bright for the Dallas Cowboys. You don't want to see that star shine.
The path of the righteous gets brighter and brighter.
Yeah, you don't want to see that glimmer in Jerry Jones' eyes.
When you watch this team play, down.
When you watch this team play, and Dan mentioned it when he was talking about the Patriots, the only quarterback that's played good against the Patriots is Dak Prescott. The dude is the ultimate leader. Look at what they were able to do yesterday after playing the way he played the week before, right? He stayed in the game until the end. It wasn't Mike McCarthy made a choice, but if Dak Prescott wants to get off the field, he can get off the field. He could be sitting where Baker Mayfield was sitting yesterday at the end of the New England Patriots game, but he's not. Right? You lose DeMarcus Lawrence, who steps up, a backup. You lose Randy Gregory, a backup steps up, and then you move Michael Parsons back to the defensive end, and he gets you 2+ sacks. This team is different, Stephen A.
Interception by Diggs. It was behind his head.
He didn't look at it.
I didn't catch the ball. What was that? I couldn't believe it.
Man.
I couldn't believe it.
Stephen A., the
I said, oh my
present
God.
is a gift.
It was
Just come celebrate.
a young talent.
That's why they call it the present. Because it's a gift to be here.
The president.
You are not my brother.
Hey, boy,
you are
that's
not
all
my
right.
brother.
Boy,
This is
betrayal.
This is betrayal. This is betrayal of the highest order. I'm done with all of this. I'm done with all of you. All I'm trying to say to y'all is this. Listen, let me tell y'all something. Okay? They got shellacked by Denver. They come back and they beat a sorry Atlanta Falcons team. Fair enough. What I'm saying to y'all is this. I have acknowledged. First of all, I was screaming about how Dak Prescott deserves his money because I know how gifted the brother is. And I also talked about what a great, great leader he was. Let's not forget that. Secondly, I sat up there and I acknowledged all the requisite weapons that they have available to them. I even brought up Schultz and Wilson for crying out loud. Not just CeeDee Lamb or Michael Gallup before he went down or Amari Cooper. Yeah. I got Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott in the back. I even picked Ezekiel Elliott for my fantasy football team. Right. Even though the point that I'm trying to make to you, I have acknowledged that. What I have said is that at the end of the day, see the kind of rhetoric that he spews, which is so nauseating because it ties into the pom-poms that go in all the time. You have to understand he's saying the same thing he was saying last year. Okay. And the year before that. And the year before that.
No.
Yes, you are.
Nobody said that.
Yes, you are.
Last year. I didn't even pick the Cowboys last year. That was
this brother right here, Ryan. This brother right here hit from me for 2 months last year. Because he said the same thing. All I'm trying to say to you is this. He's saying it now. I get that they look better. I understand that. They're going to the playoffs. Obviously, they look better because they damn sure didn't go to the playoffs last year. Okay? So we understand they looking better. But in the end, I can still look at 2 teams, possibly 4 teams that could take them out in the NFC. That's all I'm saying. Y'all get caught up in all of it. I say they can fall.
Stephen A., that's every year, though.
Hold on, that's not every year.
Stephen, what I'm saying is when you look at the playoffs, there's always going to be 1 team or 2 teams or 3 teams that can get to the Super Bowl.
Ryan, is judge the race where it is right now.
Yeah.
Why? He's talking about some things going down in January.
Why? Because that's what they do. That's what they do. That's what they do. You do it all the time.
We're out of time. We're out of time.
The Cowboys are in pole position.
Michael, we're out of time.
That's all we can do.
You live in 2 places.
Why are you in my face like that, Mom?
You live in 2 places. You live in the past and in the future. Welcome
Whatever.
to
I'm omnipotent. Okay, here's the bottom line.
It's your world, and you're omnipotent.
Roll the bump.
Hey, brother.
Jesus A. Smith.
Anticipated and scrutinized return to the field after a 10-day absence due to COVID-19 and some controversial comments that reverberated beyond the sports world. The Packers looking to get back on track against a Seattle team who finally had their quarterback as well returning, and that would be Russell Wilson. If you're expecting a shootout like myself, this one certainly did not live up to the hype. Green Bay pitched a 17-0 shutout. Rodgers, a little misty after this one.
A lot of emotions for sure. Good to be back with the guys. Good to be back at home. Good to be on the field, really. Most emotions from the whole night was probably walking off the field after the game. It definitely got me a little misty heading off. That was good to feel those type of emotions and good to be back with the guys.
Well. Michael Irvin, you weren't really sold on this Packers team, sir. You had some question marks.
Yes.
And you had some doubts. Now that Rodgers has returned and they get another W, have they finally convinced you that they are a Super Bowl threat?
I'll answer the question, and then I'll state a case here. The answer is yes. Now, let me tell you why I state this case.
Okay.
I want you guys to understand, as I said here, you kept asking me, do I believe in the Packers? Are the Packers really a Super Bowl contender? I said, not yet. They had that one element. I kept saying, I need more elements out of them. They had that one element where we saw Aaron Rodgers, that bad man, Devontae Adams, destroying everybody.
Yeah.
It was destroying everybody. But I was looking at the whole team at the same time, not just the glitter on top of it. I said, okay, they had played in those first games. They played New Orleans, Detroit, San Francisco, Pitt, Cincy, and Chicago. In those games, that's what they started the season with. In those games, that defense was 100% green zone giving up touchdowns. 100%. All of these teams They get 100%. They will get everything. They're last in green zone defense. Last. So you're letting every team that gets down there score a touchdown. Now, they played Washington after Chicago, and they played Washington. They went 0 for 4 in Washington. And since then, this team is the number one team in scoring defense. Giving up only 11 points a game. The last 3 games, they took out Murray. 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Took out Mahomes, 54% completion percentage. Took out Wilson, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I said, oh, okay, that's another element that I had been talking about. Let me see. Before, this defense was horrific. They didn't have that element. Now they're playing Super Bowl defense. And one last thing. I watched it when I was doing that game that Thursday night when they played Arizona. I said, I believe something may have happened here, but I can't go all the way across. I talked about, when I got here, talking to Randall Cobb in the elevator. He caught those 2 touchdowns. And I was saying, is that the other element? I don't know if Randall Cobb can consistently do that. But in that Thursday night game, I said, I saw something, but I wanted to continue to watch it. I watched Dillon. Now, I know Aaron Jones got hurt, and we hope that he gets back because he's a difference maker for the Packers. But when Dillon played Thursday night, the way he ran that football against Arizona, the physicalness that he played with. And then I saw it again yesterday when he rushed for another 66 yards and 2 receptions for another 62 yards. And that the physicalness, if y'all go with me here, go with me. Last year, when they lost to Tampa Bay, what was the problem? In the NFC Championship game, they took the ball out of Aaron Rodgers' hands on 4th and short down near the goal line. If you're playing green zone defense like this, and you get that physicalness from Gibson, from Dillon like that, now you give me those other elements that I can finally say Green Bay is ready to make a run at a Super Bowl. I'm not just talking out of my head. I'm giving you a clean case so you can fully understand how this thing works.
Before I answer the question directly, Michael Irvin?
Yes.
Is that your way of saying they could beat the Cowboys?
I hadn't gone there yet. I hadn't gone there now.
Put the camera on me, y'all. Put the camera on me. Put the camera on me, y'all. Put the camera on me, y'all. I just asked Michael Irvin, is that your way of saying they can beat the Cowboys? Here's Michael Irvin. Before, just seconds earlier, that's what this is. Then I asked him, can they beat the Cowboys? Whatever. Zip it. Okay? The credibility, all that argument you did, that blow game you just did, just stop it, okay? Here's the deal. Here. Let me say this on a serious note. Before I answer the question directly, let me say this. I don't give a damn about Aaron Rodgers' emotions. You deliberately deceived folks. You didn't commit a crime. You know what I'm saying? You didn't get in the car going 156 miles an hour. You didn't engage in any domestic violence. You didn't break the law. So all the folks out there on talk radio and everything that's clamoring to come to his defense, like we treating him like he's some criminal, that is just false. That is not what should be associated with Aaron Rodgers. But I also don't want to hear about your emotions and how touched you were and how, all of this other stuff. You deliberately deceived folks. You got called on it, and you got fools out there that are trying to politicize something and change and trying to change the narrative into something that it wasn't. It wasn't about a vaccine or non-vaccine. It was about the fact that you weren't as open, as honest as Carson Wentz or a Kirk Cousins. You didn't man up, look folks in the eye and say, this is what my status was, and deal with it like a man. That's why everybody got on you. So if you want to get all emotional because you got called out about that, spare me with that, miss me with that nonsense.
And there was no reason to do it.
Exactly. And there was no reason to do
it. It's not
having
like
said that, right. Having said that, he's still a bad man. He's something special. And guess what? I'm looking at Green Bay, and they are a legit Super Bowl contender, to answer the question directly. Make no mistake about it. I will say this, though. I do have cause to pause. Aaron Jones might be out. That was a nasty-looking injury. He was taken off the field. It did not look good. Now, A.J. Dillon filled in admirably. But the two-headed monster that they are together makes them lethal. And with Valdez-Scantling back, and with Lazard back, and with Devontae Adams back, and with Randall Cobb in the lineup as well, with Aaron Rodgers behind center and Bakhtiari scheduled to come back as well to buffer their offensive line as one of the more reliable pieces Aaron Rodgers has ever happened in front of him. When you talk about that, that's the kind of stuff that makes the Green Bay Packers incredibly, incredibly formidable. Make no mistake about that, because their defense is coming alive. They are neutralizing the opposition. They are keeping folks in front of them. They are making you go about the business of being patient, and to beat them, you have to methodically do so, as opposed to them giving up the big play. And when you consider what they can do offensively, led by that brother, Aaron Rodgers, who, as far as I'm concerned, listen, it hurt me to criticize him because we all know how much I love the brother. I mean, the fact of the matter is I think he's the greatest talent I've ever seen at the quarterback position. And I thought on many, many occasions in the past when people were coming at him, I thought it was wrong. I thought it was a bit excessive. I didn't think it was right. But then he basically validated the suspicions that were accorded in his direction because of how he chose to deliberately deceive everybody with the whole I'm vaccinated, I'm immunized kind of thing. But that's all it is. He's still a bad brother.
Absolutely.
And I believe Green Bay is no joke.
Yeah, they got the Vikings this week, and then in 2 weeks, the Rams come to town. I cannot wait for that game. That will be a true litmus test. And on the other side of it, Russell Wilson, you and Sierra pack up the kids. Come to New York Football Giants.
No.
We're ready to have
He
you.
deserves better than that. Not the New York Giants. No. Plenty of places to go that are better than the Giants.
Cut his mic. Okay. The Pats are...
Well, I was hoping I wouldn't say I was embarrassed again, but...
Another pick, though, by Brady. Very sloppy from the Bucks.
That display was very reminiscent of the last one.
It doesn't matter who you play if we have a bunch of self-inflicted errors.
It's all about execution and being a smart football team. We're a very dumb football team.
Certainly know that we have high expectations because we have a lot of good football players. We got to go out there and get the job done.
All they do is win. The Patriots blew out the Browns yesterday, have won 4 straight and are now 1 game back in the loss column for the lead in the AFC East. Tom Brady and the Bucs not so hot. They still lead their division, but have lost 2 straight, with Coach Bruce Arians saying they are a very dumb football team. Brady clearly frustrated after the loss.
We just never really played on our terms, so we played from behind the whole game, and they played a good game out. They had a good plan.
Last year you guys came out of the bye and kind of set things in the right motion for the end of the season. How hard is it to do the opposite in the first game back?
I mean, we have obviously, it's just not a great day of football for us. So it doesn't matter who you play if we, have a bunch of self-inflicted errors too. I mean, we gotta eliminate those and then see if we can go out and execute the plays that are there.
What did you see on the 2 interceptions?
We started with the ball, they came away with it, so thank you guys. What else?
Did they show anything coverage-wise that they've not shown on film or anything that surprised you?
Nope. Sorry?
Could you take us through how you're feeling right now?
I'd like to win.
I'm looking a little defeated. He's still that dude, though.
He was defeated.
He'll get it right, unfortunately, against my New York Football Giants on ESPN on Monday Night Football, but that's another story. Bill Belichick, this one is for you. Stephen A.
Yes.
Can the Patriots go further than the Bucs?
Can they? Sure, but I don't believe they will. I mean, I haven't jumped off the Bucs bandwagon. I'm not there yet. I believe in Tom Brady, and I believe that, whatever ails them, he has the potential to fix. And this is the part about Tom Brady's greatness, that these two are far more qualified than I'd ever be to say, but I think they'll back me on this. One of the components that really speaks to the greatness of a quarterback is not the heroic plays that they make or whatever. It's their ability to manipulate and dictate just the game overall. Tom Brady is the kind of person that can go into a playoff game, and it's not just about Antonio Brown and Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and Rob Gronkowski or Leonard Fournette running the football or an offensive line blocker for him. He's looking at his secondary. Yeah. He's looking at his defensive line. He's looking at the overall productivity of a defense. He's imagining what that defense is going to be able to do against that offense. And he games plan within the crevices of his mind about what I need to do to dictate this game in a fashion that's going to offset whatever the defense might cause as a problem for me. So in other words, I sit up there and I got faith in my defense. Well, I can air it out and we can get into a shootout and it's cool. Or if I believe that this team will pick our defense apart or whatever, then I engage in ball control because I want to keep the ball out of their hands. Let me slow it down. It's similar, believe it or not, to what LeBron James does when he's on the basketball court. The greatness of LeBron James, but also what makes it difficult to play for him. If you're a guy that you're a star, you want the ball, give me the ball, give me the ball, like Kyrie Irving, give me the ball, because he wanted to be that guy. But LeBron James has the ball in his hands. And Molly, this is exactly what he does. He grabs the ball and he looks. Where's the mismatch? So if I sit up there, all right, Mike, come pick this dude off because I want this dude right here. Right. Or come pick him off because I want this dude right here. And that way, that could lead to you getting the ball because this particular play, I need you to get off. I'll come in and I'll get mine later. This is what Tom Brady does on the football field. That's why I believe in Tom Brady, because the Patriots, as great as I think Mac Jones has the potential to be in that system, he's not that yet.
Yeah. And let me tell you something. You add what I add to it is he knows how to work on their minds. I mean, last year when we talked about going to the Super Bowl, and I heard he was texting everybody saying we will win. That's saying, I know maybe you don't believe this, but we will win, and convince them. What this truly comes down to is, okay, I think Pats go farther than Tampa go farther than Pats. Let's look at the top teams in each conference. I mean, okay, in the past, the top team, we just talked KC, Bills, and Tennessee. Over there in Tampa, it's Dallas, Green Bay, the Rams, and Arizona. And whew,
NFC's way
tougher. That's what I'm saying. So that really makes this a tough question when you talk about that.
NBA for a while.
When you talk about that, this really makes it a tough question. But I just still got to ride with Tampa on it.
No, both of y'all wrong. The Pats will go further than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. There you go. I said it. Since y'all want to play it, oh yes, they can. They can go further, but I'm not going to say that they will, because if they will, then you got Tom Brady. Hey man, just watch the games. Like for the greatness of Tom Brady, and you're talking about all the things that he can do. Hey, Bill Belichick can too. Right? And Bill Belichick also coaches that defense. Bill Belichick went out in the offseason and said, you know what? I know Kendrick Bourne's not a star, but he's a good number 2, number 3. Let's bring him over. Right? I know I could go get Hunter Henry and I can get Jonnu Smith. And look at the stable of backs that I have now. Defensively, Matthew Judon, probably the best free agent pickup in all of the NFL, right? You got J.C. Jackson, who's a star. What does that allow you to do? You could get rid of now you could get rid of Gilly because you got a number 1. When you watch this team play, Stephen A., there is no team that you look at in the AFC and you say right now, I'm always going to take them over the Patriots. Right? You look at the Buffalo Bills. I think the Buffalo Bills, from a roster standpoint, are probably the best team in the AFC. The Tennessee Titans, as what we've seen on the grass, they are the best team right now. In a one-game, winner-take-all, with Bill Belichick on the sideline, I don't know if I can pick those teams over the New England Patriots. I feel like there are teams in the NFC right now you pick over Tampa Bay.
A couple of things, because I want to pick you apart here, because I'm very sick and tired of your disrespect. Number one, the question was, any chance? That's why I answered the question that way. Had they said, Patriots going further than Bill Belichick, yes or no? But the question was, any chance that happens? Well, yeah, there's a chance. That's number one. Number two.
There's a chance for everything.
Number two, I'm sick and tired of you implying that people don't watch the game. Let me tell you something.
Ain't nobody implying that you did.
I'll FaceTime you during the game.
Hey, Stephen, because you know what my favorite saying is? A hit dog will holler. I ain't implying nothing. Okay, a hit dog will holler.
Let me say this to you.
Guilty conscience needs no accuser.
Well, you know I'm watching the games.
I know. That's what my mom used to say.
I will FaceTime you during the game. I'll interrupt you. I'll interrupt you while you're eating and watching the football game. You understand what I'm saying? And number three, and more importantly, we understand that I can watch games as a reporter, know what the hell I'm saying, and I can't scratch the surface of your football knowledge or your football knowledge. My greatness comes from knowing that I'm not. I just
there you go with that
from
again.
Those that are brilliant at it, and I steal their knowledge. And this is what I do, and I watch it, and I know when you're being hypocritical. And here's the deal: there have been a few times this year, despite your brilliance, unquestionable brilliance, covering the game of football, the both of you, I picked apart both both of y'all being wrong on a few occasions this season. Y'all ain't got flawless records, so you can believe. You can believe the New England Patriots are going to get that point. But I'll say this to you: Tennessee, you just pointed out.
Yeah,
Derrick Henry's going to be back on playoff time, and they're doing this now.
Yeah.
Buffalo, by the way. Buffalo gets smoked by Jacksonville, right? But what happens? What does Buffalo get up for?
Hasn't really beat
You know Buffalo. I'm saying, what do they get up for? Now that McDonough's right there, and New England,
like nobody else.
So I know the road overall looks tougher, but New England, watch it.
I'm with you, but New England hasn't really beat anyone outside of the Chargers either. Because I don't think it's fair to say the Browns, because they didn't have Hunt, they didn't have Chubb.
Yeah, listen. Like when you start going down resumes, and we look at a lot of these teams, there are teams with very slim resumes, right?
The Bills included, and part of that's because the AFC is not as good.
Exactly, and so now when we're going forward, though, you have to see the position that the teams have placed themselves in right now, and the way that they're playing. When you look at the way the New England Patriots are playing overall, there's probably no team in the league playing more complementary football. The things you mentioned about Tom Brady and the way that he plays football, that's what the New England Patriots are doing to me. They're saying, okay, you know what? Today we can run the football. That's what we're going to do.
And you're right, Ryan, on complementary football. But there's another C word that I want to interject in here. You're playing complementary. Everybody, but can you play catch-up football?
Yeah.
I want to see how you perform in chaos. Right now, everything's going good for them, so he can all play. Everybody can play within themselves. But let me see you. Let me see you down 14. Yeah. Let me see how you handle those situations. And I don't know if they have the.
Ain't that what I said about those Cowboys?
No, they beat them.
How do we go back to that?
I'm just saying. I'm watching him switch his own.
No. The Cowboys have come back.
This segment was over, and now you brought it back.
I'm just saying. I'm just listening to him. He said the complete opposite when it came to the Cowboys.
I did not say this. I said exactly the same thing. No, I said the exact same thing.
What did he say? Let's call me when there's adversity. Did he say that?
Yeah.
Did he say that?
Right.
Did he say that? Atlanta's adversity? Denver wasn't supposed to be adversity.
Okay.
The Giants, Carolina, the Jets, they went.
But they showed you how the adversity was Denver, and they came back in Atlanta. I want to see them handle adversity because that's going to be a part of the journey on the road to get to a Super Bowl.
You know how to get him started, man.
Please.
All right.
Ridiculous.
Patrick Mahomes made it look relatively easy.
I didn't know you could even tie in the NFL. I was in my mind, I was sitting on the bench ready, saying to myself, I got another quarter to go, but I guess somebody came to me and said, that's it. And so I ain't never had to tie in my life before.
Stephen A. Najee Harris didn't know that you could end in a tie against the Lions, which is exactly what your Steelers did against winless Detroit. Stephen A., what do you make of the tie?
Disgraceful. Bad for the game. I despise ties. There should be a winner. And the fact that the Pittsburgh Steelers ended up tying a winless team epitomizes all the trepidation I had about them this season. I'm incredibly disappointed with what I saw from them yesterday.
I think this is fascinating in this quick point, right quick. You know, just the fact that both of those guys, there won't be 0-17, and maybe Mike Tomlin now can go 8-1 and won't have his losing season.
Yeah, you're right. No Henry, no problem for the Titans. They kept rolling with a win over the Saints. Titans still have the best record in the AFC. Michael, is this the quietest 6-game win streak ever?
For Tennessee, absolutely it is. And it's quiet only because even what they've done the last couple of weeks, we say, wow, what a great job. But is it a lie or is it Memorex? Is it real or is it not? And because Derrick Henry, we knew what he was. So, yeah, we still hold out something. But I believe what a great job they are doing to keep
It's supposed to be a quick take, man.
Okay, I'm sorry. I can't quick take.
Oh, you should be one to talk.
Patrick
Mahomes looking a lot like his old self, throwing for 406 yards and 5 touchdowns in a blowout win against the Raiders. The Chiefs have now won 3 straight. That's my bad. I should have reminded you, playmaker, and are in the first place in the West for the first time this season. Michael, did we jump off Kansas City's bandwagon too soon?
Yeah, I can say we did. I did. First one jump off of it. Because I saw it mentally, they were done. But I see now, and I saw last night, and I know it's right before these other big games coming up, but they got their swagger back last night. That was big watching Travis Kelce. That was big watching them put up 40 points. Now that they saw that, I think it makes a huge difference for the Kansas City Chiefs.
I just want to see their defense be more consistent.
They're getting turnovers too right now.
Then I'll believe.
And that's the kick right now. They're getting turnovers, and they weren't doing that early.
Okay.
I think it was good to see that it's still in there. They still have it. Don't look at me like that. We hadn't seen a performance like that from Patrick Mahomes. The man still got it. The disrespect, it is unbelievable. We will leave it there.
I'm here. And this ain't for no ticket sales, Cinderella story. It's to win football games.
Cam Newton is in the game. Runs to the right side. Newton lunges forward. He's in. That was vintage Cam Newton. Cam takes a snap. Rolling right. Throws. It's caught. Cam Newton. 2 touches. 2 touchdowns.
I'm just floating at an all-time high frequency. It's almost scary.
Cam had me hyped in my living room on my couch. I cannot imagine how they felt in that stadium, making his triumphant return to the Panthers, running for a touchdown, and then throwing a touchdown. First 2 times he touched the ball. Big win against the Cardinals. Obviously, they didn't have Kyler Murray. I want to add this, though. Matt Rule said Cam's going to get most of the first-team reps. He could start against Washington. Stephen A., did any teams make a mistake not signing Cam?
Well, I think the New Orleans Saints, one could argue they made a mistake. I mean, with Taysom Hill not being healthy, Jameis Winston being out for the season, Trevor Siemian, I don't see him as the guy. Now, I'm not saying that, again, Trevor Siemian's been there. They believe in him. He's a veteran, and I understand that. But I think that with Sean Payton's innovative skill as a play caller and combined with Taysom Hill, this is what I mean by this. Taysom Hill is no Drew Brees, but he brings a different dimension to the table. Clearly, Sean Payton was receptive to that because he's mentioned on many occasions how much he believes in Taysom Hill.
Yeah.
So if Taysom Hill is hobbled, why wouldn't you go the route of Cam Newton? Because Cam Newton is somebody that definitely can run with the football, has the potential to throw the football, even though I've consistently questioned his accuracy. When you look at the other weapons that they have and what they can do defensively as a team, New Orleans is a legitimate threat in the NFC. I would say to you that is a team that I felt made a mistake. And also, it alarmed me that Ron Rivera didn't call him for the Washington football team. This man starred for you for 9 years, okay? He did a lot for Ron Rivera, and I love Ron Rivera. What a class individual.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. I like Taylor Heineke, but he's no Cam Newton. And if you Washington, how you don't call Cam Newton is beyond me.
Ryan Fitzpatrick?
No, I'm talking about just a few weeks ago, once, obviously, when Cam Newton was, he's been free all season long, and Ryan Fitzpatrick obviously was there before he left.
Yeah, I'm talking about even the offseason, even before that. You know what I mean? Cam was still out there and losing. Okay. And he could have signed it then. I don't think any other team missed out on Cam. I think where Cam is right now is the perfect place for him. Now, let's be real here. I mean, that was a great story yesterday.
Yes, what?
Cam came in, and Cam scores a couple of touchdowns, and they win the game. They're hyped, and they play above themselves, and it's a great story. But where does it really go? And we'll see in the next couple of weeks. Is this something where we're talking about?
They've got a couple winnable games the next couple of weeks,
Yes, they do. They have a couple winnable games. Now, they got to go win those football games. You know what I mean? And it's going to take more than just the hype yesterday. Yeah. It's going to take some execution and some completing.
Are they making the playoffs?
No, I don't think so. No. Let me tell you why I don't think so. They've got Washington football team in Miami, 2 winnable games. Yeah. Then they have a bye week. Yeah. Then they have Atlanta. That's another winnable game. So we're talking potentially 8 wins. The final 4 weeks of the season, at Buffalo, Tampa, at New Orleans, Tampa. They could literally go 0-4 the final 4 weeks of the season.
And it's perfect that he's there because when you look at the draft coming up, there's no need to say, let's lose games and get a great draft choice because you don't got that quarterback in this draft. You do not have that quarterback in this draft. So you say, have fun. Let's win as many games as we can.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Monday Night Football, Peyton and Eli back on ESPN2. This is always a good time. 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. They'll be breaking down the Rams and Niners from their couches. Phillip Rivers will be joining them, among other guests. Monday Night Football coverage also available on ESPN and the apps. You can always check it out on the go. Stephen A., OBJ will make his Rams debut tonight. The Rams will also be without Robert Woods, who tore his ACL in practice on Friday. Thank goodness. They got OBJ. Who do you have winning tonight, Stephen A?
No, I got the Rams winning tonight. I think that OBJ being with Matthew Stafford, even though I'm not happy about Robert Woods going down, God bless him, that's pretty
And
sad.
Chase Young.
Great guy, good talent, and what have you. For Robert Woods to be out, I think is a tremendous blow to them. But if OBJ is what he wants us to believe he is, if he's anything reminiscent of what we've seen him be in the past, him with Cooper Kupp should be it should be big time with Matthew Stafford throwing them the football. And oh, by the way, when's the last time we've heard anything of true relevance from Jimmy G? I mean, we gave him some love a couple of weeks ago. We ain't heard nothing about Jimmy Garoppolo. So, I mean, it is what it is.
We've been talking a lot about Odell Beckham, and Odell Beckham, it's exactly what he wants. That's why I said to you guys right here that a market was very important to Odell Beckham, and he got his market in L.A.
He wants to be a part of the show.
Right, he wants to be a part of the show. Now, let's look at the numbers on this, because Matthew Stafford throws the ball about 36 times a game. 11.5 of those targets have gone to Cooper Kupp. 8.5 have gone to Robert Woods, another 5 to Higbee, another 5 to Van Jefferson. Now, and so when I was looking, I was like, okay, where do you fit this in? And then Robert Woods went down.
Mm-hmm.
Now those 8.5, you can slide over towards Odell Beckham. Do you know Odell Beckham coming from a place where he was getting 1 or 2 targets a game? Now he's going to get all of those targets. It's going to be it'd be incredible to watch him play.
Oh, I fancy myself a little bit of a fashionista, even though he thinks he's more of the fashion person on this show.
Who
wore it best?
I can't
it's an
touch,
edition.
I can't touch you.
Of who wore it best.
Oh, look at
Here we go.
Oh, look at me sitting back like
folks
JR.
at home, please tweet me. We're going to take a poll on this.
Well, first of
who
all,
wore it
first of all,
better.
the hat matches better with my outfit, A, and B, my shades were far better than his glasses.
Yeah, I wish I had some shades on too, because I do like
your
the
hat's
shades.
kind of
I do like
blocking
the
your
shades. I got to give you the
I can't really see your
You
shades
look like
that well.
I look like a cowboy right there. And in terms of his southern accent, I reckon you had a point at one time.
Have you ever
starting
rode
off
a
the show.
horse in your life?
Excuse me. Yes, I have.
Really?
Yes, I have.
Where did that take
Well,
place?
I don't do it too much. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I got to take care of myself. But I might ride a horse in Dallas come playoff time.
Man, they tried to put